thing is to realize that you can accomplish something. You know, I know sometimes it feels, you just feel powerless, that you're one small person in this world of big corporations and big evil people and big media companies and so on. There's just nothing you can do. But the fact is, a lot of the reason it seems like that is because people feel powerless. People are afraid to do anything.
I believe that if I was extradited to the USA, my life is effectively over, so in some sense it's as bad as anything I can contemplate. The US government has attempted to kind of fight a war against information transparency and against activism in general.
Greetings, citizens of the world. For some time now, we have observed the overreaching arm of the government against the ever-growing world of technology. This fear has caused the destruction of due process, the weakening of constitutional rights, and has given full authority to the discretion of prosecutors. Due to this fear, we have seen how the law has wielded more authority to exercise control, in the interests of oppression or personal gain. We have been watching, and waiting for almost 6.5 years. Due to an overzealous prosecutor, on January 6, 2011, Aaron Swartz was killed because he was forced into playing a game he could not win, a zero-sum. The prosecutor aligned a highly disproportionate sentencing that was made possible due to the current form of an outdated and poorly envisioned legislation, written to be so broadly applied as to make a felony crime out of violation of terms of service. This legislation is known as the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, also known as the CFAA. The CFAA was created by the Reagan administration and enacted by Congress in 1986 as an amendment to the existing computer fraud law known as the Counterfeit Access Device and Abuse Act. The CFAA was intentionally made broad and used words with many meanings. One example of how broad it is that the CFAA does not define what authorization means. When the Reagan administration created the CFAA, it also did not define obtaining information. Obtaining information can range from downloading top-secret government emails from the Secretary of State personal server to loading Google. It is also against the CFAA to partake in interstate or foreign communication, yet that is exactly what you are doing if you visit Facebook's website from outside of California. The CFAA is so dangerous that you can end up facing hundreds of years in prison for sharing a link.
Statement saying, quote, "Good news. The U.S. government decided today that because I did such a good job investigating the cyber industrial complex, they're now going to send me to investigate the prison industrial complex."
Or face jail time and a fine for adding a number to the end of a URL.
Is to shove a gun in somebody's face and shove people in prison cells, and that's the last realm of tyrannous thugs.
Or expose a rape and receive a higher sentence than those that committed the rape.
25 years for forcibly entering your way into a computer, but you get 1 year for forcibly entering your way into a woman.
In March, 2 football players, ages 16 and 17, were found guilty of rape and sentenced in juvenile court to 1 and...
Or facing a decade behind bars for being entrapped by the FBI or being tortured and caged for helping out WikiLeaks expose a possible false flag, or facing a life sentence for allegedly bringing attention of the death of Aaron Swartz. On June 20, 2013, AaronsLaw was introduced into Congress as an amendment to the CFAA. If enacted, it would provide definitions to broad words that could be used multiple ways, limit the ability to charge multiple times for a single act, and makes punishment proportional to the crimes committed. Since July 15, 2013, it has not moved from the Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security, and Investigations. We have felt within our hearts a burning rage in reaction to these events, but we have not allowed ourselves to be drawn into a foolish and premature response. We have bidden our time, operating in the shadows, adapting our tactics and honing our abilities. We have allowed the FBI and its masters in government, both the puppet and the shadow government that controls it, to believe they had struck a crippling blow to our infrastructure, that they had demoralized us, paralyzed us with paranoia and fear. We have held our tongue and waited. We have not taken this action lightly, nor without consideration of the possible consequences. With the extradition of Lori lingering, the attack on cryptography, and with the crackdown on innovators, we can wait no longer. We have exercised such control for quite some time. The time has come to give the system a taste of its own medicine. there is nothing quite as educational as a well-conducted demonstration. In this coming September, Operation Stand Up to CFAA will commence. The mission of this operation is to come in peaceful protest to find a legal resolution to this crisis, but first certain things need to happen. There must be a solemn commitment to freedom of the Internet, this last great common space of humanity, and to the common ownership of information to further the common good. We will first start September off with phase 1 of 3. First phase is a social media storm to make citizens re-aware of Aaron and what is at stake. After the social media storm, we will engage in phase 2, an international call flood to Congress advising them that we are still here and that the information age relies on getting Aaron's Law passed. Once the second phase is completed, we will protest together as one at our local government offices, may it be from local city council offices to each of our state capitals as well as the White House. For dates, times, and phone numbers follow Aaron's Law 2017 and Op Stand Up to CFAA and the wielded Coalition.
The change was impossible. It precluded me from taking any actions that could have caused that change. And so I think the first step for everyone out there is just to believe that you can accomplish something. Because once you believe that, you're half the way to act.
We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.